So I have already introduced myself. Actually, this program also has a second director, who is Andres Kurg, a professor of art history from Estonian Academy of Arts. But unfortunately, he was unable to join us today because he has an exam at Estonian Academy of Arts. So, so you have to make do with me. So the program is called Literature, Visual Culture and Film Studies, and as you see, it brings together these three different disciplines: literature, visual culture, art history, and visual culture, and film studies. And it's an MA program, English language, international program, and also run in collaboration. But first, overview of the program. As all MAs, most of the MAs in Estonia, it's the duration of the program is 2 years, and the cost of the tuition fee is 1,000 euros per semester, and the study form is full-time studies. For those who are not familiar with Estonian system, some of the MA programs are run as part-time programs in a sense of that the lectures and seminars take place only towards the weekend. But full-time studies means basically that you have to be ready to participate in lectures and seminars throughout the week. So those students who study, who work, in addition to their studies, they have to give preference to the studies. So we can't accommodate any work schedules in scheduling our seminars and lectures. We have a tuition fee, but we also have merit-based tuition scholarships. And this means that four students each year receive tuition fee reduction, and it's actually full reduction. So you don't have to pay the tuition fee. And it's merit-based. It means that in the first semester, it's distributed based on your admission results, and every next semester, these 4 scholarships are given to the people who got the highest results in exams. So there is an opportunity also to study tuition-free in this program. So reasons to choose the program, as I already said, it's an interdisciplinary program of literature, visual culture and film. And actually most of our students come to the program precisely because of the combination of these 3 fields. Partly the program was born out of the interests of the faculty too. So we had people working in these different fields who were interested in these other disciplines, and then we decided to found a program that addresses these 3 disciplines together. But it was also partly, this program was partly born also out of the interest of the former students of former English language programs. So we had mostly programs centered around literature and semiotics at Tallinn University, and also art history programs at Estonian Academy of Arts. But we noticed that in literature programs were often people who were interested in film, and also in art historical programs, people who were interested in media, culture, also film. So it seemed a good idea to bring these disciplines together. And this is indeed the fact why most of the students choose us, because the combination is not very common throughout the world. So there are only very few programs that combine these three disciplines, and most of the people who come to our program from abroad, they say that they came because they noticed that there is a program that brings together their different interests. As I also already said, the program is run in collaboration between Estonian Academy of Arts and Tallinn University, and we also have courses that we have ordered from, program is run by Estonian Academy of Arts and School of Humanities of Tallinn University, but we also have courses that we have ordered from Baltic Film and Media School, another institute at Tallinn University. So another reason, so obviously the joint program is a reason to choose this program, because you have access to best faculty both at Tallinn University and the Estonian Academy of Arts. And another reason we are very proud of is practical training, which we have developed in collaboration with major international literary, art and film festivals in Tallinn. So basically, each year our students are divided into 3 groups based on their interest. The biggest group is the one who collaborates with Perth Black Nights Film Festival in Tallinn in November. And what our practical training sessions mean is that our students participate in choosing and composing the program of the festival. So the practical training happens mostly in the summer, where our students watch films that have been submitted for the festival, and they choose which of these films. So they watch hundreds of films, our team, and then decide which of these are interesting for BEF festival. Then second group is working for literary festival, Headread or Headread, which takes place in May. So there is some voluntary work that students do. So they help with the organizational matters in the main hall of the festival in Harju Street, the big hall of Estonian Writers Union. And they also socialize with the guests, invited writers. They pick them up at the airport and so on. And they also make interviews with writers and write reviews of their books that have been translated, perhaps specifically for the visit to Estonia. And thirdly, the smallest group also works. It depends on a year, because the art festival we collaborate with, Artishock, takes place every second year. So when Artishock takes place, we collaborate with them. And the alternate years where the festival doesn't take place, our students work for for the Center of Contemporary Art, Estonian Center of Contemporary Art, and help with different matters at the center. So during the practical training, you really get into contact with people in the field. And this has been quite successful. So this is the reason to choose the program. Now, I will go on with listing different reasons why this program might be interesting for you. So another reason are international study groups we have. So we have students from all over the world, and I really mean that it depends on the year, of course, but we have people from Europe, Latin America, North America, Asia, former Soviet Union, so all from very different countries. And as we deal with culture, literature, art, and film, of course, these students bring their cultural background to our courses, and this makes the study of culture, these cultural phenomena, very interesting. For example, this year I taught a course on Eastern European memory culture, so films and literature and art that deals with the memories of the Second World War and socialist regime in Eastern Europe. And when we watch these films and literature, students have very different approaches to these films depending on their own cultural background and their own the difficult histories from their own country. So it really proved extraordinarily interesting to approach this topic with them. We also try to organize extracurricular activities. So we sometimes have student conferences, also study trips. We have had a study day at the Maarjamäe Memorial and the new memorial for victims of communism in Maarjamäe. As you know, there are two, the recent memorial for the victims of communism is put next to an old Soviet monument, and so it has created a very interesting so palimpsestic memorial landscape in that part of the town. And so we actually went there and analyzed these different layers of memorialization at these memorials. And we also we have had Andres Kurgis, the second director of the program, is an architecture historian. So we have had trips to different parts of Tallinn, Lasnamäe, and for example, the Soviet architecture in Lasnamäe. We also had a study trip to Narva last year. We visited the Grenholm textile factory, and our students presented their MA work at the Contemporary Art Center in Narva. Then the last on the list is a list of the reasons to choose the program is that it's a research-centered program, in a sense that, of course, students come to us with many interests and they have plans for their future, and they indeed continue in very different directions after they have graduated from the program. But we also offer readiness to continue on a PhD level. So we give appropriate research-centered teaching and training, and many of our students actually are very successful PhD students at BFM or University of Tartu, and currently, for example, 2 of our graduates are PhD students at University of Tartu, and also internationally, of course. So course outline. So basically, those of you who are familiar with the Estonian system, 3 semesters are for coursework, and then last semester for MA thesis. You attend courses and seminars, you do practical work, and practical work, as I already said, happens in May of the first year, over the summer between year 1 and year 2, or autumn. Artishock Festival takes place in autumn, so it's autumn of the second year. And also what we encourage to our students to do is to start thinking about the MA thesis already at the latest at the end of the first year. Start thinking about the topic, about the possible supervisor, because we gather the research proposals at the beginning of the second year. So at the latest in October of the second year, you have to submit your research proposal, the title, and the supervisor, and you start working on your thesis at the latest at that time. And then fourth semester is entirely for MA thesis writing, and you have just one course, which is a seminar, master's seminar, where you discuss your work. And I think so far we are very proud of this system, because our program is one of the highest, I think with the highest graduation rate at the School of Humanities. So last year we had, this is the third year we accept students for the program. And so far, those who started 3 years ago, they have all graduated from the program. And this year we have, for example, our groups are not very big. It's between 12 and 15. And this year we have 9 students defending the thesis, for example, in June. Sorry, we are already in June, so in 2 weeks and on the 16th. Thesis is defended publicly, so this is different from many other international, from the systems in other countries where you just submit your thesis. Here it's publicly defended, so you have an opponent, you discuss it, and then you get the grade. I will say a couple of words about the courses. So in the first year you have general theoretical courses, key concepts in cultural analysis and key concepts in critical theory and visual culture. So first is taught at Tallinn University, second is taught, which is more visual culture oriented, is taught at Estonian Academy of Arts. And in both of these courses, the groups are quite big because you're studying together with the other MA students of the school, for example, anthropology, Estonian studies, Asian studies, cultural theory and philosophy, and so on. So you have a chance to meet other students. And equally at the Estonian Academy of Art, you also study with Estonian language MA program in art history with the students from that program. Then we have courses, 2 courses of word and image. One is more addresses the topic of the image, the relationship between word and image in a more modern time. But we also have a second course which is called Word and Image in Renaissance or in the Middle Ages, and this is taught by specialists in literature and visual culture of the Middle Ages. And this course offers a historical depth to our program, because usually we think that this relationship of word and image has become important only in the modern times with the new social media and so on. But actually, word and image the relationship between has always been very important. For example, the iconographical images of the Middle Ages have always been linked to the biblical texts and so on. So we want to show that it's this combination of literature and visual culture. It's not a modern phenomenon. It's also a historical phenomenon. And then we have seminars in literature, visual culture, and film, 3 seminars, and these are thematic seminars, and they change depending on the year, and also the tutors change. Thematic seminar means that there is a theme, and then we look at the literature, art, and film linked to that theme. For example, as I said, this year I taught a course on memory cultures of Eastern Europe. Then we have a course like post-colonialism, where you study the theory of post-colonialism through literature, film, and art. We have had also dystopia in philosophy, literature, and film. We have also had, as you can understand, we have a theme like post-colonialism, like dystopia or cultural memory, and then this is studied through these 3 different disciplines. Then we have a course in narratology and film analysis and film adaptation, which are more film-centered courses, and then elective courses. And as I said, elective courses we have ordered from BFM, 2 courses, digital culture and media culture, I think. So 2 courses, and there are also electives from Estonian Academy of Arts. Elective courses means that you have a list of courses you can choose from. So the list is not very long, but still you have an opportunity to choose. And then we also have a free elective, which means that you can choose whichever course you like from Tallinn University or Estonian Academy of Arts. So academic staff, we have here on the left, you can see Andres Kurg, who is the second director of the program. Then we have Piret Peiker, who teaches a course on postcolonialism. Then Krista Kodras, she will not teach in this year, but she teaches visual culture of the Middle Ages. And Teet Einemaa teaches film courses, so film adaptation, narratology, and so on. But there are more faculty members who teach in this course. This is just some examples. So career perspectives. So as I said, we, as always in the humanities, we prepare our students for a wide variety of jobs and train you in transferable skills like verbal expression, presentation skills, analytical reading, and so on. So these, and also obviously other transferable skills that can be used in many different jobs. But so the opportunities that we have listed are research, education, cultural journalism, art administration, cultural management, museum industry, publishing, cultural diplomacy. So if you have any specific interest, you can develop these also already, for example, during the practical training, for instance, and so on. So admission requirements is a statement on research interest. So 1 or 2 pages, it's like motivation letter, why you have chosen the program, but also if you have any ideas for your MA thesis, you can change it later, but we want to know about the specific interest you have. What are you interested in? And writing sample is then, you don't have to write anything specifically for this admission. What we rather want to see is coursework you have done on the BA level, like some seminar work or excerpt 10 pages from your BA thesis or something like that. So, and then we have the interview. So we choose our candidate. We interview our candidates in 3 rounds. So the deadlines of application for students from different countries are start from April already. So we have already accepted students from outside Europe. So 1st of June we had the deadline for post-Soviet countries. I'm not familiar with why these deadlines are separate, but now we are going to admit the 2nd round, and then the 3rd round is in July. Estonian and the European Union students are, and usually interviews are for these first 2 rounds are conducted on Skype, and usually And for this last round, it's usually at the premises of Tallinn University. It hasn't been decided yet what we're going to do this year with the Corona situation. So it might be through Zoom or at the premises of Tallinn University. So I will stop here and we can continue with your questions. I stop sharing the screen. So we already have, so it's up to you. You can submit the questions to the chat as Lydia has done, or you can also turn on the mic and pose your question. So I will start with the question that Lydia has posed, with the questions. So Lydia asks if the students are divided into 3 groups by the specialization, either film, visual culture, literature, and if so, when does that happen? And are the applicants required to choose one when applying for the program, or does it happen later? So actually, you don't have a specialization. You study, you all study together. We only divide people into 3 groups for the practical training because we want to offer different opportunities. So it's only for practical training. And we divide people at the beginning of the second semester, so in February, because the first group who does literature festival has to start working for May, because when they want to do some interviews and write some book reviews, they have to start reading and preparing already in February, March. Second group works mostly in summer and the third in autumn. But this division is not a specialization. It's just a division for practical training, which is just one course, 6 point. Let's say it's like a course, 6 credit point course. So the second question is about how the studies are organized between Tallinn University and Estonian Academy of Arts. And yes, the lectures will take place in both universities, and we try to schedule the courses in a way that you have enough time to move between the buildings, but usually they are even on different days, so you don't have to run from one building to the other. So it's not divided by the semester. Each semester you have something at Tallinn University and something at Estonian Academy of Arts. About the supervisor, yes, you have an opportunity to choose from both universities depending on your interests, and also 2 supervisors if needed, one from Tallinn University, the other from Estonian Academy of Arts. Of course, the supervisors sometimes are also people who are not part of the faculty who teaches the program. So sometimes if you have a very specific interest, then we advise you to go to some of the people who haven't taught for the course. So because I mean, the universities are quite small, so there is perhaps one specialist for graphic novels and manga culture, and then just another one for like we have also not so many at Tallinn University. We currently don't have so many faculty who deals with film, so film theory, because BFM teaches a lot of practical filmmakers, and so there is not so many film scholars, so Teine is mostly supervising all the film phases. So what are the major mistakes an applicant can make when applying for this program? Can you specify, Lydia, what you mean? That so in order to be successful in the application process, or what is so what we look for, what we are looking for mostly is that we are interested in students who are really eager to study or passionate about one of these disciplines or a combination of these disciplines, and so the interest and dedication is, I think, the main factor why. So when we choose our candidates. So another question is about sorry, about the application process. As I said a couple of words about the motivation already, but also the question about research abilities. Of course, we estimate if the person is able to write an MA thesis, if there is a genuine interest in research in that sense, that it's possible to graduate from the program only with an MA thesis, and it's written in English. And we have also native speaker students, but many of the students are not native speakers, so the language skills have to be appropriate or have to be developed during these 2 years. Then if they are not good enough or to enable a good work on the thesis. Yes, but of course we have students with very different interests, and some of them have also a practical background. They have studied filmmaking, or they have interest in script writing or creative writing. So they study, they come to study in this program because they want some kind of more academic background to their practical activities. So in that sense, we don't push them like strongly in a direction of the research, but they still need to write an MA thesis. So I don't know if this is an answer to this question, a good answer to this question. So what have been some previous research topics? Are the students encouraged to choose an interdisciplinary topic? No, in a sense that we don't, it's really up to the students if they want to write only about literature or about film or about visual culture, or they combine these. It's important that the thesis deals with one of these disciplines. So even if you want to study perhaps something like we had a thesis on identity last year, and of course if you study identity, it cannot be an anthropological or a sociological study of identity. It has to be studied based on these artistic media, literature, visual culture, and film. I think the theses that have been defended in this program are accessible through EDERA, the database at Tallinn University, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not quite sure, but so you can check and see what are the possible topics. So if I can give you some examples from this year, defense that will take place on the 16th of June, we have We have a thesis about cultural memory and space in 2 films, in Truman Show and Synecdoche, New York. Then we have a thesis about cultural memory and the series Chernobyl. Then we have a thesis about artificial intelligence and Garfield. Then we have a thesis about One Piece manga and its fandom and the participatory culture. So we have one thesis about adaptation from video games to films. Some 2 famous video games that have been unsuccessfully adapted to film. So this thesis studies the reasons for this unsuccessfulness, possible reasons. Then we have a thesis about the imagological study of American films and TV series in relation to the image of Estonians, so how Estonians have been portrayed in American films and TV series. And then we have a thesis about Georgian art at the beginning of 1990s. What else we have? We have, yeah, these are some of the examples that that come to mind. So we have also a thesis about filmic landscapes in 2 Mexican films, Roma and Kyros, and so on. So, but if you are more interested, you can check the database. So the number of free electives is not limited in a sense that you require 1 open elective to graduate, but of course you can take more open electives. It's in addition to your required credit points then. So Iveta has asked clarification. So is there one theme for the seminars every year or are there more? So basically we have 3 of these thematical seminars, and they take place in the first 3 semesters. So first semester you have 1, second semester is 2, and third semester 3. And you have these are compulsory. You can't choose the theme in a sense that you have to take what is on offer. But they are quite different. So you get the different kinds of topics that you can study. So as I said, culture, memory, or I have also taught a thematical course on autobiography in literature and film. So these are always different and changing, these themes. And Iveta's second question is about the payment. So is it possible to divide it and pay monthly? This is a question actually to Maris Peters. So you can actually just email Maris Peters, who is an administrative assistant to this program, and she can explain these bureaucratic matters. I'm not so familiar with these, but I believe so. And sorry, Iveta's last question is about your idea for the MA thesis. As I said, you have to describe it in a research statement. It's not a separate essay. In a research statement, you just explain, like your motivation letter, you start with what you have done before, what kind of background you have, and why you have chosen the program, and what might be your more specific interest, including an idea that you might have for your MA thesis. But it's really short. It's 1 to 2 pages, so you don't have to write a separate essay, because obviously we assume that some people come with a very specific idea at the beginning, and after they have studied for 3 semesters, they still want to write a thesis about the same idea they came to the program with. But it very often happens that a person has an idea, but during the studies, for example, they write an essay in one of the courses, and then they develop this into a MA thesis. They start liking this topic, this strand of research, and then the MA thesis grows out of this work. So it's in that case, so if you write about if you write your research statement and you propose your idea, we don't expect you to stick to this idea. We just want to have that you have some ideas, because we also unfortunately get applications from people who just happen to live in Estonia and want to study something, and then that's why so internationals who live in Estonia want to study something in English, and that's like a choice of English language program is not so why they come to us, but they don't have any specific interest for the program. So that's why it's good. It's good to read your ideas, more specific ideas and interest in the program. So the tuition fee is fixed. So if you study more, you don't have to pay more. So you still pay the fixed fee. So additional open electives are not are free of charge. So this is what I can say about the financial matters. So you had a lot of questions. If you have anything else, then I'm very happy to answer. So the question is about students, if they have a similar BA background, literature, film studies, art history. No, actually, we have many people from literature, also film studies. As I said, many practical BA, many people who have practical training like filmmaking or creative writing, but also because it's an open program, we have also people who have studied something else before, but they have had already demonstrable interest in these aesthetic media. We see people who have also some kind of hobby as that's something they have done in the CV, in the application CV. We see that they have also done something related to the program. So these are also some of the candidates we get. So yeah, so very different candidates, and also interests are, I think why this program is also good is that because the group is not very big, so we are really able to supervise the students towards the interest they have. So we can accommodate that, and they complement each other in that sense, that there are people who know more about practical filmmaking than when we do film analysis in the seminars. Then, for example, practically trained people are have very interesting comments about the practical filmmaking and so on. So I have always felt that when teaching the students, both their cultural background and their different disciplinary backgrounds really enrich the seminars and lectures. So any more questions? So there's a question, what sets this particular program apart from the variety of others? Do you mean nationally or internationally? Yeah, internationally, I think, as I said, there are not so many universities that offer this combination, literature, visual culture, and film. There are sometimes visual art and film, or literature and film. This combination at some UK universities and some Australian universities, but then this is quite specific. I think, yeah, also cultural backgrounds of the students are quite diverse, and perhaps people who cannot afford to go to UK, and they are able to come here. So we don't have only a specific international group, but very diverse international group, and more people also from Europe. Throughout the years, I have been a director of the English language program for now, I think, 7 years, previous English language program, and now this new one for 3 years. And I can say that the group has become more and more diverse, also from students from Europe, particularly. Before, we didn't have so many students from Europe. Any other questions? About the Erasmus exchange, do our students go go abroad, and what are the specific universities they usually choose? Actually, because many of our students come from abroad, so not many of them are interested in going somewhere else again. So it's, but every year, at least one of our students has been, 1 or 2, 3 have been away with Erasmus exchange. I'm not sure, I think they go to different places in Europe, but recently I think many people have been to Utrecht University in the Netherlands. So this is one of the universities I can mention. Anything else? Any questions that are still not answered? If not, then I would like to thank you for sticking with us for this hour already. And then you're very welcome to apply to the program. Yes, I looked for more questions, but this is just a comment. So yes, feel free to apply, and then we will meet again in June for the interview. And if you have any questions, you can send an email to me, or in bureaucratic matters to Maris Peters. You might have been in contact with her already, but if not, then she is also a contact point for this program. So thank you very much for this info session. Have a good evening.